Hey Naturally Glam fam, it's your girl Jonna, and in this video I'm going to share with you guys my labor and delivery experience. Let's start with what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be an all-natural labor and delivery, pretty much. No pain meds. Your girl was going to be a G. I was going to labor at home with my doula and my husband. And then once it was time to deliver, we're going to go up the street to the hospital. The hospital's like 4 or 5 minutes down the street. I was going to deliver, bring my baby up and hold him. And it was going to be all peachy, right? Yeah, girl, wasn't that like that. 4 days. 4 days. Your girl was in the hospital trying to have this baby. So day one, I got up to go to work. I had a doctor's appointment at 10. So I just had like a little breakfast shake. I had gestational diabetes. So I had a restricted diet. And so I would have like these Glucerna type of diabetic shakes in the morning. Just something quick to drink on my way to work. So I had one of those. This will be important because that'll be the last kind of meal thing that I had until I delivered the baby on Sunday. Yeah. Just to keep that in mind. I left my job, you know, around 9-ish to go to my appointment at 10. All I had was my cell phone, my driver's license, and like, you know, my basic credit card or debit card or whatever. No hospital backpack, no nothing. I'm 37 weeks, so having a baby is not even crossing my mind. Like, he is tucked away in there, and I had just started like my weekly, this was supposed to be my first every week appointment. So go into the doctor, get my blood pressure checked. My blood pressure is high. The doctor suggests, doctor's right next to the hospital where I'm supposed to be delivering. And so my doctor's office is a group of physicians. So I have my physician, who I see, absolutely love her, African-American woman, just amazing doctor. And I picked her because I was like, this stuff happening with these black women having babies. I want to see a black woman through my pregnancy and hopefully delivering my baby, because I need somebody that look like me, that's gonna see themselves in me, and they're not gonna let me die. Go to the hospital, and the physician, not my physician, says, oh my goodness, your blood levels are crazy. You know, we know you don't have preeclampsia, you don't have protein in your urine, but you have several other symptoms similar to preeclampsia, and it's called HELP syndrome. And basically, you know, this can cause you to start having seizures. You can start having, like, go brain dead. You can have, you know, basically you could die. None of that's good for you or the baby. So you need to have the baby. We need to start you on this magnesium IV, and then you need to have the baby within 24 to 48 hours. That's the only, we need to do this. Scared me half to death. They start everything. I start making phone calls. And so the catch with the magnesium is that you can't get out of bed. You can't do anything. You basically got to lay in bed. You can't eat anything. Only clear liquids. And you have to continue to take the medication 24 hours after you deliver, and you can't be on the medication for more than 5 or 6 days, or it will also start to cause the problems that it's trying to keep from happening. You could start having seizures and whatnot. It's a time window that you have, and not knowing any of that, you know, just going off the word of this physician, I go ahead and, you know, they go ahead and start everything. So this is Thursday afternoon. Never did get back to work. All my stuff is still at work. I had no labor bag, I had no backpack, I had nothing. I don't have a crib at home, I have nothing. They start to try to induce my labor. I was like -1 centimeters dilated, so baby was not interested in seeing anybody. And they started, put something on my cervix to help soften it. And about 4 hours later, they decided to take it out because they wanted me to transfer to another hospital, because they felt like that hospital and that team of physicians deal with high risk labor and high risk pregnancies. And I actually had already been seeing them because of my gestational diabetes. So they wanted me to go to that hospital where they deliver babies. And so they had stopped that night, thinking I was gonna leave. The next morning, it didn't look like they were going to have a bed for me there. So they told the hospital where I was at to go ahead and start back inducing labor. and just see what I could get done. Still hadn't progressed, still negative 1 centimeter. So all day Friday, now we're on Friday, all day Friday, I'm just trying to, you know, wait for something to happen. I was having some contractions, but nothing, you know, too traumatic. And by that evening, still nothing. And so that physician that was on call this particular day was a gentleman. I use that word lightly, use that term lightly. Came in the room, hadn't seen me, hadn't examined me. Thank goodness he hadn't touched me, thank goodness. But he came in the room and said, you know, hey, here's the deal. You've been on this magnesium. You need to have a baby. You need to have the baby ASAP. And I need you to do a C-section. This is what I got to do. Protect you and the baby. We need to have a C-section. I'm like, hold on, sir. My husband's not even here. We're not doing anything until I get him, till he's here and we can talk about it. So my husband gets there, the doctor comes back in the room, basically says the same thing, but mind you, his tone is he's loud. He's just a loud, you can say he's just a kind of a loud talker, but it's almost like he's talking like, he even had like a little neck roll, like, hey, this is what we got to do. It was almost like he was talking like this. You know when people talk to you like this and you feel like, hold on, now I need you to back up a little bit. So my husband was like, sir, you know, I understand what you're saying. However, you know, this is a stressful situation and I just need you to take it down a couple notches because it's making me more stressed. And so he was like, well, this is just how I talk. And then he reached out and he put his hand on my husband's shoulder, like trying to, I guess he caught himself trying to console him. Yeah, no. And my husband was like, I'm sorry, please don't touch me. And so when he said that, the doctor's like, well, fine, you guys don't want my help, so keep doing what you're doing, maybe you'll get transferred, and I'm done, and walked out of the room. Not a good look. The nurse, who was also black, so happened to be in the room when that happened. She went out and she called my doctor, my official doctor, and she came and she addressed it and she was like, I'll deal with that physician later, but for you, I just, you know, she talked to me about what was going on and she says, you know what, from what I can see from the medical record and what's been documented, you know, I personally am humble enough to say that I feel like myself nor my partners are really equipped to really give you the best experience, and I do think it's best that you go to this other hospital where, you know, I've sent you to those physicians before. I trust them. They're the high-risk physicians and I think they would better take care of my patient, and so I'm going to see what I can do to get you there. In the meantime, I also so happened to work at the hospital where they were trying to transfer me to, and so my husband had called my boss, who so happens to be one of the executives at this hospital, and let her know what was going on and how upset he was. And she of course was not happy with what he had told her had transpired, and so she also started making calls, you know, about what was going on. Next thing I know, I'm being transported to this other hospital. So this is around Friday midnight-ish. So I get to the other hospital in the wee hours of the morning, Saturday, and you know, they're emphasizing to me as well that, you know, we do need to go ahead and have a baby soon, but they're a little more understanding about the time frame. You know, they deal with these high-risk laborers all the time, so they felt like we're definitely not like we need to have a C-section today, but probably by like Sunday evening we might be needing to have a C-section if you haven't delivered. So keep doing everything you're doing. I'm glad you have a doula. They love the fact that I had the doula. Sorry, he was crying. So by the wee hours in the morning, they get me all checked in. They decided to go ahead and start to induce my labor by giving me Pitocin to kind of get the contractions a little bit more aggressive. By the time I had gotten there, I think I was dilated like 1 centimeter. So we had went from negative 1 centimeter to 1 centimeter, and we had been like we were on day 3 at this point. So they said, let's give you some Pitocin to kind of get the contractions going, and boy did they get going. And I mean, they got going. Okay, Pitocin is no joke. And make sure contractions very, very intense. So here we are. Day 3, I had gotten probably no sleep, no food, couldn't get up, and I'm having the worst contractions. Mind you, I took them joints like a G until probably about 10 o'clock Saturday night. And that was it, to the point where I said, this I can't do. They had just checked me, and I would think I was like 3 centimeters dilated. And the doctor was like, if you're not 6 centimeters dilated by 11 o'clock tomorrow, which is Sunday, which would be day 4, we're gonna have to do a C-section. At that point, I started to question if I was gonna be able to get that far. Mind you, listen, it's been days. It took me days to get to 3 centimeters. And I'm thinking, am I going to be able to get to 3 centimeters at this rate? Like, I don't know. And I don't know if I can mentally and physically take it. Like, this is intense. You got to think about being 3 days bedridden, basically, with no food, no sleep. And you're taking a medication that does make you, can make you dizzy. It makes your muscles weak. All of that basically is against you. All I had left to battle was my mind. And at this point, I felt like I was starting to mentally crack, and my goals didn't change, because my birth experience that I wanted to have, we already not having that. I felt like I was punking out, and at that point I had to realize this is not about punking out. Like, this is about bring your child into the world, and how you want to do that. What is the next best thing at this point? And I said the next best thing is I just want to be able to push my baby. I do not want to keep going like this and just physically can't do it, but I'm gonna try anyway. And then they get to me tomorrow and they say, oh, sorry, you still haven't dilated enough, we got to do a C-section. And there's nothing I can do at that point. I can't get that 12 hours back. And so I had to make a choice. A few hours before that, I got my safe word from my doula. I think she felt like it might be coming. I might need to use it, because I told them nobody offered me pain medication. I did not want to be offered any pain medication. If I want it, I'll ask for it. And so she told me to use a select a safe word. It was shrimp. And so by that time I was ready to use my safe word, and I was talking to my husband, and he was right there in my ear. He was like, you can do this, look how strong you are, like, look how far you come, and like, don't you want this? Like, you want to have this, you want to do this, you want to do it. And I was like, no, I've done it. What I came here to do, I have done. I proved to myself that I was strong enough to do this. If I was just having a normal labor and delivery, I would have been home with my baby by then. Listen, most time you start your labor within 24 hours you've had your baby, and if you're in a hospital, they're going to send you home the next 2 days. So about 3 days is the time most people spend in the hospital from start to going home with their baby. I haven't even gotten past 3 centimeters dilated. Like, I did what I came here to do. I feel like I got to make a choice now. I got to choose between, if I want to prove, what am I trying to prove here? Am I just trying to prove that I don't need the pain medication? Or is the ultimate goal that I be able to push my baby out and hold him and not have to have a C-section? And that's the choice I made. When you're in that much pain, like, your senses are so heightened, that I could smell that he had some potato chips earlier that day. When we were having this conversation, I was telling him, no, babe, like, you don't understand. You had chips. You've had chips. I haven't had anything to eat for 3 days. I haven't had food. I haven't slept. I haven't had anything. Like, I'm a champion. I'm a champion. I champion this. And you can't, nobody can tell me that I didn't. And he was like, you right, you right. And so the doula was like, hey, you know, let's do it. So she was like, if we do this, then what we need to do is we need to rest, and then we need to get up, and we need to, like, labor. We need to get into this thing and get you dilated. So I got the epidural around midnight, and we slept for like 4 hours. or so. And then like around 6, let me tell you something, they checked me again. I was 4 centimeters dilated, so without doing anything but resting. First of all, the epidural, whoever told y'all that you gonna feel nothing, it's a lie. For me, it was a complete and bald-faced lie. I felt every single contraction, boo-boo. It was just enough to take literally the edge off to keep me from going insane. That's pretty much all the epidural did. We were 4 centimeters dilated. We were supposed to check me again at 11, but I don't think they checked me until like 1. I was 8 centimeters dilated. And I'm telling you, we got it in. We did every position we possibly could do in that bed. We had like a peanut ball that I could use, but I mean, I just did everything I could. Got to 8 centimeters. It's like 1, and I had him at 2, and I felt everything. But the good news was I got to push my baby out. I pushed him out, and as soon as he came out, they held him up, and it was like we looked at each other, and he just screamed. It was like not even hardly a pause between him coming out and him crying. And so I cried. Like my husband said, I have saved every tear since I've known him for this moment. Right? It takes a lot for me to cry, and I just kept saying, it's real. I can't believe it's real. Like, it is real. It's a real baby. Oh my God, I just can't believe it is real. 2:05 p.m. December 16th, Sunday, December 16th. I pushed my baby out, y'all, and he was perfect. He was perfect. I'm gonna put some pictures in here too, so you guys, because I did have a birth photographer along with the doula. That's the only people I had in the room. I'm just so happy that I made the decision, because I know if I wouldn't have changed up, I would have definitely had a C-section. But I'm so glad I made the decision. And shout out to the doula, Tiffany. Girl, I'm telling you, me and my husband, we love her. Like, she became a part of our family. 4 days she basically spent with us in the hospital, guiding us. Like, she was amazing. And that's kind of why I wanted her there versus a family member, because they could have been there to support me, but they really wouldn't have been able to help me navigate through the process, the medical part of it, or to know what positions that I could do. The nursing staff really didn't give me any type of guidance or assistance. They just would have had me in the bed. Like, the nurse did help the doula position me, but they weren't telling me, okay, position yourself like this or like that. The doula did that. My mom in particular expressed so many times how she was grateful that I had a doula versus her, because she's like, I would have been there, but I wouldn't have been able to help you. And I feel so much better knowing you have somebody in the room that's helping you, that knows what they're doing, especially under the circumstances. So shout out to you, Tiffany. You did that, and I would definitely recommend her to anybody in the Hampton Roads area if you're looking for a doula. Shout out to my family who came and supported and sat in the waiting room and respected the fact that I didn't want them in the room. Because I know some people don't have that. Some people are, you know, family, they act like they don't understand, or why you don't want me in a room, while I'm coming in the room anyway, especially parents. And I just appreciate that my family didn't do that, and they respected our privacy. And last but not least, of course, I got to shout out my husband for really being a G and toughing it out with me and sleeping in the uncomfortable little pull-out bed that they give you in that room, and just holding me down and telling me that I could do it. He just made me feel like I had conquered the world. And of course, thanks this guy for finally coming out, because I need you to come on out. And he came out healthy and happy and crying. Shout out to the hospital executives for being responsive when I complained about that physician, and they got right on it. All is well that ends well, and this definitely ended well. If you have more questions, definitely leave them below in the description box, and I'll try to answer them. All right, see you guys later. Bye. You say bye? Yeah, he's saying bye.